So I had a request from Mary, who was making a request for what she assumed Damaris would want to ask, which was, talking a little bit about when you met Grammy.
Oh, okay.
If you would talk about, just describe what that was
All
like.
right. We were in Syracuse. One of my buddies then from high school and that we were good. Ollie Hills, his name was, and we had taken just one summer. We took a trip and went. We put his car on a ferry in those days in Buffalo, New York, and went to Detroit, and we went on. And that was just an overnight trip, and a lot of people did it in those days. It was an overnight. You put the car on the boat. So the next year we thought, well, let's go on a cruise in the Great Lakes. So we did. We got on a cruise liner at I think it was the Neuronic, was the name of the boat, and it was going to cruise up into Lake Huron and Georgian Bay, and Rita and her friends from J.L. Hudson Company and he had in the same office that 3 or 4 other girls had done the same thing, and that's where I met.
Do you remember the occasion of the first meeting, and what sort of because I remember when I was that age. You were how old? You were 24.
I was 20. Probably at that time I was probably married a year later. 23.
23.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that age, you're looking at a lot. Your eyes are open. You're looking at the field, so to speak. If you can, do you
we
remember?
were there to meet girls.
Right. And it wasn't singular. You're there to meet
exactly
girls.
Right. Yeah.
But can you remember what sort of stood out to you about Grammy?
She was beautiful.
Good answer.
She was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was still is in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and I can to accentuate that. There's a picture of her home somewhere, and Matt looked at it here within a year or two. He said, my God, she was beautiful.
Yeah.
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 You've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary, we were just talking about the occasion of the first Grammy meeting. Yeah. You're fine. Come on in.
Come on in.
Mom's been joining in and asking questions too, so it's.
I gotta quit here for a minute for obvious reasons.
Yeah. You just finished that coffee, huh? We'll pause it here. The area that I was thinking of concentrating on was just that cruise.
Oh,
sort
okay.
of,
Yeah,
but it doesn't. It's whatever. So we talked about. You said that one of the things that really stood out to you is that about her that she was just beautiful.
Just beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of it's a blur because
It's been a couple of years.
it's been several years, like 66 or 7. Well, we're married 67 years,
Yeah.
what it is, ago. And
My guess is there may have been a little bit of drinking.
a little, not much, little.
Was it legal? Was it
a
prohibition?
This was a Canadian boat.
Oh.
That's what, and it was legal here too.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, part of it I remember on that cruise. The cruise was wasn't long. I'm saying right now 4 days. It's about what it was. And we went up through Georgian Bay and stopped, and this is now in Canada, some port that I can't remember the name of, and it was, and by that time your mother and I were swinging hands, and we stopped and we did buy some liquor at a Canadian liquor store. I don't remember now. It was probably Canadian Club because that's what the one in those days that you got. And I can't remember whether we even drank much of it, but probably did. And that was one day. Then another day we went up to Mackinac Island, and there was that's the island that there are no motor or cars. They had carriages. We rented bicycles and went out. And
at that point, were you and Grammy had you paired?
by then,
yeah,
pretty
you
much,
guys
yeah,
were just like
yeah.
kind of ditched
I
your
glossed
friends.
over the first day when we weren't paired off, but by then we pretty much. Ollie was with one of the girls from J.L. Hudson.
Really?
And then there were two of them left adrift, I guess. It's a little mystery now.
Yeah.
Whatever, where they evaporated.
Did Ollie end up with the lady he met?
No. With him, it was just. I'll get into that right now. We got off the boat and got back on the boat in Mackinac. Then we got back to Detroit, and we went home, and then that within that was a summer. Within 3 months, the company had me come to Detroit to go to this school I talked about earlier, the mechanics school, and then for some reason, I had your mother's number. And then we saw each other I was there for 9 months. Then I went to St. Louis and for a little more training. And then that was just 2 months. So then we came back and were married. This is 1940. And we were married in August. And then I went down to my first assignment, which was in Charleston, West Virginia. That's how we got to West Virginia.